So we got a little bit of a sneak peek at Wave 4 of the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom line that we've learned about through listings. We've had alluded to it through all kinds of different stuff. And while we don't have images of the toys themselves, except for one of them really that leaked out, we do have this box art that was provided by Hasbro's actual Transformers.com website. And there was a whole bunch of images of different characters and everything, but specifically ones aimed at what is going to be Wave 4 of the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom line. Specifically, the 4 Deluxes that'll be available in that wave and one of the Voyagers. Let's get into that. Now, the one that we already knew, no big surprise, is Waspinator. We could kind of just shove that one under and we could move forward. The one that we shouldn't be too surprised about is that of Autobot Pipes. I mean, it looks like Autobot Pipes. He looks great. I'm very happy with how he turned out. He's not just a straight up 100% repaint of Huffer. They actually made the effort to do the twists, the turns, the transformation that is different than that of the Huffer over the hood kind of head. Again, he's always been a retool of that character. Just sometimes in the past, unfortunately, Huffer and Pipes toys have just shared a mold, and there was no retools between the two of them in recent years. So now it's nice to see something that's brand new, very show-accurate face. I love it. Huffer is, again, one of those obscure mini-bots that you just can't help but love, and Pipes is kind of the same thing, too, even though he had even less screen time and less character development. So I dig it. I like it. I'm definitely going to get him. He looks awesome. Let's get into now the really interesting stuff. So number 1, Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Wave 4 Deluxe Class Shadow Panther. Now, we knew that this was going to be some kind of a Cheetor repaint, but they still kind of threw us a swerve here. Even though it's going to be a Cheetor repaint, even though it's going to have the color scheme that we pretty much 100% expected based on the history of the Shadow Panther character and the Cheetor mold, we're going to be getting, instead of the traditional Cheetor head, we're going to be getting the mutant head instead, which is a nice touch. And what I think it's going to cause people to do especially is if you're a customizer, you'll get extras of this mold, you'll rip off the heads, and then you could have an extra mutant head to use for your traditional Kingdom Cheetor and get an extra head from the Cheetors to give a traditional head for your Shadow Panther. There's going to be a lot of interesting stuff in the secondary market percolating and the customizer scene because of an extra head sculpt being thrown into the mix. And again, I appreciate that. And considering that, you know, we also have the Cheetor reissue toy that's literally going to be on the shelves at the exact same time, it's going to show people what that mutant head is, you know, because people could pick up that reissue, see both heads on the original Deluxe Cheetor figure, and then you get the mutant head on this one. I dig that a lot. That's a nice touch. They didn't have to do that, but again, it adds a little more character and makes it a little different than just a straight up black and yellow Cheetor repaint. Next up, we have Kingdom Slammer. Now, this was one that, I mean, for the longest time, I was like, oh, it's going to be a white Warpath. Why wouldn't it be that? And as time progressed, we saw listings suggesting that it's going to be something similar to that of a weaponizer or a modulator. And now that we have this art and we've studied it down, it's starting to look like it's an amalgam of different modulator pieces. Specifically, looks like Airwave mixed with Ironworks with some new tooling here and there. And interesting choice. I will say this, I guess they really want to, it's like the last segment I said, weaponizers, modulators, the small price point stuff, it didn't sell well for Hasbro. So I get a feeling they really want to get as much mileage they could get out of the R&D and design of these before they finally put them to rest. And well, I think that's pretty cool though. What I'm actually curious about is how much is actually retooled from this art. Obviously, you can see the head sculpt is different, and there's a few other little, you know, fine details there. But I'm also curious when this is going to be applied to, let's say, all the modulators we've gotten up to this point. Could we mix and match pieces for color waves and funny stuff like that? I mean, when we really think about it, look how many Airwaves and how many Ironwork repaints and retools we've gotten up to this point. They're really trying to get the most out of this. And now we're going to get one more shot at it. The other question is, how is that alt mode going to look? Is it going to really have that that 100% tank kind of look like the original Slammer? And because it's made from a modulator, is it also going to have some kind of a pseudo base mode? Again, harkening back to Slammer's origins as a Metroplex Autobot City piece. A lot of interesting questions here. But I appreciate what I see. And again, as someone who loved the modulators, even though the rest of the world really didn't in terms of sales, I'm curious to see the next and possibly final chapter of this gimmick in this character. We'll see what happens. And the last one here, kind of a little bit depressing. Transformers War for Cybertron, Voyager Class Kingdom Tigatron. Judging by the details of this art, dare I say, he's a oversized, like they took the Cheetor sculpt, they resculpted it a bit, retooled a bit, and made it oversized, and we have more or less the same toy. What was the first giveaway was the second I saw the whip accessory. I was like, well, I guess that's what they're doing with the tail. It's going to be a whip because they're using the Cheetor Kingdom mold. But then when you look at the fine details, the quad detail, the way how the transformation with the feet on the legs is, it's clearly they're going the Cheetor route. They're just kind of giving a new head sculpt, like it's going to, obviously the Tiger mode is going to be very obvious. Probably a brand new head sculpt for the Tiger mode, new head sculpt obviously for the robot mode. There's going to be fine details that are going to obviously make it more buff, but ultimately in the end, the same DNA and engineering of that Deluxe Class Cheetor is going to be present here, and it's going to look probably ultimately in the end looking like that Deluxe Class Cheetor. I want to be wrong on this. I really want it to be something that's really more akin to what they learned from the Masterpiece and put it in a Voyager price point, much like how they were able to pull off something really great with Dinobot and with, in the case also of Optimus Primal. But we will see. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's what it looks like from this art. It really looks like it's just a blown-up Cheetor with obviously resculpting and remolding to make it more look like a tiger and less like a thin cheetah. But we'll learn more, hopefully, when that comes. And when will we learn that, in all honesty? Well, as we also got this update, we also had, on both Hasbro and Hasbro Pulse's Instagram account, the announcement of the very next Transformers Pulse Con, which is when they're going to be revealing all their latest Transformer product, not only for the Hasbro Pulse website, but also for the ongoing future. Hopefully we'll learn some new product from that outside of just all the stuff that's been leaked out. The last PulseCon we got had quite a bit of products that we discussed. I want to say 12 from the Transformer brand. So it should be interesting to see what they'll show us. They say it's going to be in fall. We don't have an exact date yet. But considering we're still kind of, knee-deep in summer right now, and like as of this recording, it is July 1st. Happy Canada Day to my Canadian listeners. And it's something where we're probably not going to have PulseCon until at least August, September. That's a lot of time for stuff to leak out. That's a lot of time for other information to show up through Walmart listings and everything. So I get a feeling we're probably going to learn a lot about this stuff before PulseCon rolls around, but hopefully that's not the case. Either way, let me know what you think about these. Again, I'm kind of sad about the Tigatron. I was kind of hoping for something different, maybe with a gun or, swords or something. But I guess it's going to be a Cheetor. But I'm actually very interested about Slammer now. I'm kind of a little bit more happy that he's not just a Warpath repaint and that he's going to be doing something with those modulators that I love so much. Again, reminder, like top 10 Transformers of 2020, Ironworks and Grease Pit made both Jaws D and my list for the best figures of those years. So I'm looking forward to see what they do with this one. Let me know what you think. Pretty hype stuff otherwise.